So this is the 2006 Honda CRF80F that I picked up for my son. He's ready to move up to a manual clutch bike, and he's not quite ready for the XR100, so we're going to get him started on this spring. I've been looking all winter long for an 80, and here in the Northeast, at least in Massachusetts and Rhode Island and Connecticut where I've been searching, the 80s are a pretty popular size. They're commanding pretty high resale value. So average price for like a 2006 and you know, good running condition, average asking price is around $1,000. So figured if you can get a deal, you should be able to get it down to around, you know, $800 or $900 anyways. But I was looking for a real deal, and then this popped up on Craigslist. It was an hour drive away from me out towards Boston, and I didn't relish the idea of going all the way out there. And you know, I should know better because no photographs, so right off the bat I should have thought something was up. Advertised it as a 2008, asking price of $950. I think they even had the nerve to say something about it being in excellent running condition or something like that. But so made an appointment, went out there and saw the young man who was selling the bike, and it was him and his older brother who basically were working the deal. And first thing, right off the bat, first thing I did when I got there, took one look at it, thought, 2006. Pointed that out. They actually acted like they didn't realize it. He claimed that guy who sold it to him told him it was a 2008. Good thing about it is they had the original certificate of origin, which is kind of like a title here in the state. They don't really title dirt bikes, but he had that, and he had the bill of sale and everything from the guy who bought it brand new, so he definitely was the second owner. And it looked like, by the paperwork, it almost looked like it was a 2006 that the guy bought, the original owner bought new in 2008. So that might be where some of the confusion lied. They had it running when I got there. That's another thing too. You know, that I want to see a bike start cold, see how it acts with the choke on, see how well it warms up, how quickly it warms up, a number of things, what it sounds like when the engine's cold. When I got there, they had it out there idling and running. But that didn't matter because I could still hear all of the noise telling me that the, you know, chances are the adjuster on the camshaft, on the cam chain is pretty worn. It looks like it's near the end of adjustment there, and this thing still is pretty noisy. Sounds like it might have some piston slap to it also. It was smoking a little bit, so I think it's burning some oil. But that didn't bother me that much. I mean, it bothered me enough so I could get a good deal going, or so I thought. So what I ended up doing was going back and forth with the guy and telling him, well, it's an 06, it's not an 08. I pointed out, see how loose the chain is? I pointed out how worn the teeth on the sprockets were. And it didn't occur to me to pay closer attention, because when I saw that should have been the clue. So I'll get to that in a second. So we went back and forth, and I got him down to 600. And the older brother was 23 years old, I believe. He's the one who kept trying to get a little more money out of me. And then it was funny, the younger kid, he's a 7th grader, I think he was. He went in the house, talked to mama, comes back out, and says that his mother says, yeah, they'll take 600 for it. So I had a deal at 600, but then the older brother had he had all kinds of issues with that. I pointed out, hey, I got a deal approved by your mother for 600. So we went back and forth, and he kept grinding me for more money, and finally I agreed to give him 650. So I gave him the extra 50 bucks, thinking I was still making out. I took it for a ride down the street. All the gears seemed fine. Came back. Front brakes are a little soft. Rear brakes are shot. And I noticed the rear brakes are pretty far adjusted so that they've got really no travel whatsoever, and they're just not there. So I think they're completely, the shoes inside there are probably completely cooked. So I'm gonna need rear brakes. Pointed that out to them. Probably need a chain and sprocket set. So here's the big issue. They had it running when I got there, and I opened up the dipstick and I pulled the dipstick out. I saw some oil in the dipstick and I put it back in. What I should have done is I should have tested the oil level when it was empty. When it was, what I meant to say, I should have tested the oil level when it wasn't running. Because when I got it back here to the house and started looking at it more closely, I saw this little crack right here in the cover. And I thought, you know what? The chain is in such bad shape. I bet you that the chain came off. And I saw a little bit of oil over here, and I realized, well, the shifting lever's bent. That's no big deal. That's not the big problem. The big problem is, at some point, and this is, I think, a pretty common thing on these, at some point, this threw the chain, well, the chain broke. And this chain, when it broke, came around, or when it came off the sprocket, more than likely got jammed up in there. It broke the casting right here. So from where my finger is right there, going all the way around the top to almost there, so from about 10 o'clock there to about 5 o'clock there, that casting is all missing, broken off, and that's what holds this oil seal in place. So what happens is, this has got an oil leak right here where this oil seal is. So when I checked the oil level cold, it wasn't even on the dipstick. So there's a couple problems with that. Problem number one is obviously the oil's leaking out that way. Problem number two, if it was leaking like that, chances are they were running the engine with low oil. So that's not good. And that might explain a lot of the wear. And then, it's like, I don't know how I missed this, but I mean, take a look at this. Here's your adjusters for your chain. They're all the way back. That's as far back as you can pull the rear axle to tighten the chain up. All the way to the limit. And the chain is sloppy as heck. I mean, that is not good. So, I think what I'm going to do right now is, I just moved the bike so that the master link is right here. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to see if I can't pop the master link, take this chain off, see if I can't remove one link, and do kind of a cheap way of getting away with running this thing with the chain that's on it. So removing a master link is pretty straightforward. You just use a screwdriver and pry this little clip apart a little bit, and then grab a pair of pliers. I found that these type of like alignment pliers work really well to just kind of grab one edge and put the nose on the pin and pop it over. And then this, pop this off, and then this works its way out. See, it's got rust and everything on it. So to remove a link, what I got to do is, actually it involves removing like a link and a half, really, because see, if I take this pin right here out, all that's going to do is that's going to take this part of the link out and leave me with the wrong thing to put the master link into. So I've got to go to the next point where I can hook a master link back up to, which is here. So I don't want to take that pin out, I want to take the next one over. And that, it's kind of like taking a link and a half out. Alright, for anybody who's wondering, I'm wearing hearing protection and a face shield. Now, I'm going to have to do some adjusting. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the, I'll leave the chain back on here, just to get an idea of kind of a ballpark we're in as far as how much that one link did for me. This two possibilities here as to what's going on with that chain the way it is. Chain could be stretched, and if the chain is stretched that badly that you're going to take a link out to get it to the right size, well, in reality you should be replacing the chain. We ain't doing that yet. Now this could be tricky to get the chain onto the front sprocket again without taking this guard off. You want the bike in neutral for this, that sprocket shaft rotates freely. And now you can see I'm quite a bit short, but my chain adjusters are all the way back, so you see how much travel I've got here. I should be able to get this wheel forward enough so that I can actually go right ahead and put that plank back in. Oh, how could I come all the way out here without a 10 millimeter? Crying out loud. 10 millimeters is the size that it's like most commonly used on just about everything I run into these days. Forward some. That's pretty close. Not quite. No, I think somewhere along the line, I remember reading somewhere that you shouldn't reuse a master link. But I'm going to reuse this one because if this chain falls off, I don't plan on it trapping me too far from the house. Or my son. Man. Remember, there's a way that this is supposed to go. And let's see. So, wheel's going to turn this way. The chain's going to go that way, and that way, so the chain's going to be going in this direction towards the rear of the car. So we want this to go in this way. Putting a little opening in the link facing the opposite direction of travel, because I think that's how that's supposed to go. Alright, now I'm going to take up a lot of this. And you kind of want to eyeball the wheel, make sure you're kind of straight as you're going along. You also have, there's a little series of raised nubs here on the swing arm, and there's a little line right there. It's kind of hard to see. Actually, this one doesn't have a line. But generally, you just look at right there. See where it lines up on here, and then do the same thing on the other side, and that pretty much gives you your straight wheel. The other thing you can do is you can check the distance from inside the swing arm here to the edge of the tire on both sides. Wow, that tightened up real fast. Alright, so then there's a reminder right here. Keep chain adjusted and lubricated. 1 1/4 inch free play. See owner's manual for instructions. And what they're basically telling you is they're telling you that you want this chain to be able to move up and down 1 1/4 inches total. Now, the reason why it says see owner's manual for instructions is because the owner's manual is probably going to tell you what conditions should be set before you actually take that measurement. In other words, if I put this frame up on a box and I let the swing arm sag all the way down, then that's going to give me a different measurement here than if I say leave it like this. And I'm going to get yet even another measurement if I actually sit on the bike and put weight on it and compress the shock and move the swing arm up. It's going to change that a little bit. And I honestly don't remember what's the correct way, so I think I'm just going to look it up, because that was the other thing. The guy had the owner's manual. The kid had an owner's manual. Alright, so first thing, from the owner's manual, I did put the Master Link retaining clip back on. It says you can reuse the Master Link retaining, Master Link if it's in good shape. They do advise putting a new clip on. So that's what you shouldn't reuse, the clip. But even that, they said, if it's in good condition. It seems okay. And the little opening, the side with the opening on the clip, if the Master Link was right here in this position, it should face down. Okay, so again, would be basically the opening faces the opposite direction of the travel of the chain. Chain's moving this way, chain's moving this way, the little opening on the back of the clip is facing back from where it came. How you adjust this, how you want this when you measure this chain slack, it's basically just the way it is, no weight on it on the kickstand. Another interesting note, talks about rechecking the free play of the rear brake assembly after you get done adjusting the chain, because the position of the wheel here is going to have a direct effect on the free play of the rear brake. Well, that explains why I have hardly any free play on my rear brake, because this wheel was moved all the way to the rear. So I'm probably going to have increased free play on the rear brake pedal now that I've moved it back up into a more sane position. But I still think the drum's shoes are too far worn to really adjust it. We'll check that in a minute. It also says right in the manual, by the way, that improper maintenance of the chain, specifically keeping the proper slack, can result in damage to the engine cases. That's what we got here. You ain't lying. Alright, so looking here, I'm looking at the bottom. I'm going to go midway between the two. Roughly right here. Scale, pocket scale. Alright, so I don't have enough free play right now, so I've got that too tight. By the way, there should be a second set of nuts on here that actually are for the purpose of locking these. It's pretty good right there. Maybe just a smidge loose. And I'm going to make a note of where this is. I want to line up fourth dot over. This one's going to be tight. Alright, so now that wheel is straight. Now it says you should rotate the wheel and recheck the free play in different locations along the chain. And it says if you don't have proper free play as you do that, then it means you've probably got some pins or some rollers that are binding. And it explains it. Sometimes just a matter of lubricating the chain will rectify that issue. Well, I had some chain lube around here, but I can't find it right now. Motorcycle chain lube has special properties that help it cling to the chain so it doesn't fly off from the centrifugal force. But I want to put something on there, so I'm going to use my my Zip 45 NC penetrating lubricant with PTFE. So at least I'll have some lube on there. First I'll spin it. This chain's pretty dry. I'll just spin it so you can get an idea of what it sounds like when it's kinking. Your chain's kinky. That actually doesn't sound too bad. have had another set of hands. There you go, kicking a little bit. That's why it's going the wrong direction. Oh yeah, it'll come off everywhere. They still have some lubricant on it. And the battery's dying, but I'm able to give you guys a glimpse of what this puppy sounds like. Kill switch doesn't work either. It's another thing that needs to be fixed. This thing should fire right up. Hey, the key was off. Well, we flooded it now. Actually, it doesn't sound too bad. I think that carb might need a little bit of cleaning. About 40 degrees out. There we go. Still a little cold. You can hear that little bit of a clatter in there. But that's probably not something I'm going to want to get into for this spring, because then the bike will be all torn apart and nobody will be riding it. Well, I almost took a digger in the field there. Way too muddy. Still get a little bit of snow here and there. Hit a muddy patch, the front wheel nosedived and almost went flying off. So I'm going to recheck the slack on that chain and then readjust it if necessary, and then I'll check the free play on those brakes. Alright, I'm going to have to get some locking nuts for those chain tensioners, because they're not going to stay. But I just wanted to show you real quick. A lot of that noise is right here. And there's a adjuster right here. This is a locking nut. If I loosen this, that loosens this little clip. I can turn this now. Now listen to the difference. Hear the difference? This is what it sounded like when I got it. That's what it sounds like with just a tiny adjustment there. Guess that wasn't piston slap after all. Sounds beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. So because of the oil leak there, we'll have to keep it topped off with oil, keep an eye on the oil level. But I think it's a usable bike. Well, moving the wheel back into the correct position solved the free play issue. Now I've got the free play that I should have here, but unfortunately I have to try the brakes again. I think I'll try them before I adjust them. adjust them, just push down on the brake, hold this lever forward, let that go back, and spin this thing over a little bit. Try it again. Brakes are pretty much gone.
So what do you have to do?
We're going to replace the brake shoes that are inside here. We're going to take the rear wheel off to do that. I'm not going to do that because we don't have the new shoes yet. That's pretty much it. I adjusted those way far and they still don't work. So.
Shut up!
Hey! Don't worry about it. Tell your brother to shut up. My job. Well, it stops a little bit. Not enough though. Say hi, everybody. So we'll get some new brake shoes and we'll fix the kill switch, and then we'll wait till it's a little less slippery out there in the field, and I'll teach you how to ride a bike with a clutch. Okay?